get fresh, get boogie, because, you know, just astrologically, they're so like I was talking to somebody she called me from work, and like her phone kept going out, and I was like, oh, don't worry, I think a Mercury retrograde or a Venus bullshit's about to start.
Mercury is already in the shadow phase.
Yeah.
So that is exactly what's happening, and that will be part of our discussion, because
I think because it goes retrograde the 13th, right?
He goes retrograde the 13th, but he is retrograde. He's already stationed, which means that he's already not moving. So the shadow phase is already like the energy's already happening. It's just going to get stronger and stronger.
I feel it.
Yeah, and then it culminates on election day.
Oh, because it ends the 3rd, right? Some bullshit. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Chakra Talk.
Yes.
We are, so I'm going to wait. We've got a couple people. I'm going to give it just another minute. You know how we always do. We just chit chat and jibber jabber for a few minutes to give people time to join in. I want to start off with some housekeeping. And just give everybody a heads up. This is going to be a little bit of a different Chakra Talk tonight. Normally, we're just so solely focused on the energetic body and tips and tricks to kind of make sure that you are living your best life and paying as much attention to your energetic health as you are your physical health and your mental health, because they all tie in and they all weave together. Tonight, though, we're going to be talking about politics. So normally when we do our chakra talks, we don't really we talk about how what's going on in the political sphere is impacting our chakras, but we don't actually talk about our chakra system and how we can use that during this political season. So normally when we do a chakra talks, it's normally but little PG-13. I keep my cussing to a minimum because I want to be sensitive. But tonight I'm probably going to be a little bit more full throttle, a little bit more Adrian, how I am when I'm reading with a normal, how I used to do my Saturday night reads, where it was just me acting a hot damn fool.
Going all in.
You're going to see more of how I normally am when we're on a petty party with Jace and Johnny. You know it's serious because I brought out the Crocodile Dundee hat tonight. So I may even call our president a motherfucker. I'm just saying. We need to talk about how, for a lot of you guys who have been watching, you watch a lot of the readers, you know, we're here to soothe you. We're here to help give you hope. And that's in essence what the chakra talk is going to do tonight. It's going to give you hope and it's going to help you. But what we're trying to do also is let you know how energetically you can like amp up so you can go into that voting booth on November 3rd and do the voodoo that you need to do so very well to change the course of this country.
Yes.
Okay. This is going to be a lot about, if you're not familiar with the chakra system, we're still going to talk about the chakra system and give some explanations, but really it's more of a political rant tied into a chakra talk. Lauren and I talked yesterday and I've never heard her cuss so much in the years that I've known her. It gave me everything.
2020.
That's it. I wanted to just give that disclaimer. We are going to be talking about politics. There's probably going to be some, like I said, that's some cussing, because unfortunately, that's just kind of what happens when you talk about politics. I want to start off also for those of you who are new. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for tuning in tonight. I want to introduce my amazing co-host for Chakra Talks. Lauren, can you introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you do and how to follow you on all the social media?
Yeah, perfect. My name is Lauren Margulies. I am, I don't even want to like pigeonhole myself, but I do lots of things. I teach yoga. I'm a sound healer, meditation guide. I'm studying to be an astrologer at some point in the near future. Any type of energy work, Reiki. I try to encompass all different forms of healing, but really it's about helping to empower people to find the healing in themselves. So I'm, a conduit for healing for other people. And that's how we know each other, this beautiful friend of mine, and I'm excited to be here. I'm mostly active on Instagram, which is BSG Yoga, but I do have a YouTube channel, and I'm starting to get back into posting. So it's Lauren Margulies.
You did. Thank you, Larry Girl, for putting Lauren's YouTube on there.
You.
She did an awesome beginner yoga and advanced yoga. Those are her two latest videos. Even if you don't like yoga, she does it in a way that just makes any jackass feel like they can do like Shunganaga and Lisa for like 8 hours at a time. Oh, goodness gracious. Johnny, thank you so much for the super chat. Tarot's Apprentice is here. Thanks to my moderators too. Johnny from Tarot's Apprentice, the amazing Larry Girl who always has my back, and my other homegirl, sister from another tribe, Jace. So thank you guys for holding us down tonight. So let's get in a little bit on the agenda. First, Lauren is going to go into, there's some just pure bull crap going on astrologically, which is going to compound how we are going to physically and emotionally and spiritually feel walking into this election. So Lauren's going to she's going to actually walk it through in a pretty, a lot of detail. So if you love astrology, this is going to be great. If you're like, oh my gosh, astrology like makes me nervous, it's still going to be great because Lauren's going to do a fantastic job of kind of going into everything that's taking place and has taken place, i.e. Corona Gate, and that are going on right now. Then we're going to talk into actually knowing what we know with everything going on astrologically. What energy do we need to take into the ballot box? And this is where we're actually going to start talking about chakras. What chakras in particular are going to be impacted that we need to start beefing up and getting ready to go in and fight this battle. Think of these next couple weeks as going through your military training spiritually to get ready to fight the fight that you're going to fight on November 3rd, or when you mail in your ballot, or how you're early voting. Whenever you go, do what you're going to do to take your power and to try to influence change. We're also going to talk about too how we need to prepare ourselves for the election night and the weeks, days, and months coming out of the election, because we all know we cannot trust anything that happens with this administration. And what I don't want, I feel like I would not be a good human being, good healer, good person, good friend, if we didn't talk about the fear frequency and how we're going to be able to take that same energy we had going into the ballot box with our solar plexus chakra, our heart chakra, our third eye chakra, and how we can keep that frequency pretty high. Because we all know whoever wins, it's going to be some shiggity that's going to happen, and we need to be ready. So really talking about how we can kind of keep the wave going all the way from November 3rd to January 21st or 2nd. Okay. Lauren, girl, we were talking about some retrograde bullshit. Tell us what's going on.
This damn planet's always going retrograde on us.
And it's going retrograde during my birthday, which is some other bullshit, but we'll go into that later. Okay.
Well, first, I just have to say, I love the way that you framed all of this. And this is something that I think is really important, because like astrology isn't good or bad. It's about like what emphasis we put onto it, and we get to choose how we interact with what comes up. And it's exactly like what's happening politically. Like we get to choose how we interact, and it doesn't mean lay down. It means fight for what you believe in, but keep fighting even if the cards are stacked against you, So I think it's really important to go into this election in the right headspace, because there's a lot happening, and all that's happening is affecting us mentally. It's also affecting us physically. It's affecting us emotionally. And it's exactly what you said, all these directions. So we need to energetically be on point so that we don't let these, the physical sensations take us down. We don't let the, communication breakdowns take us down. And because of everything that is happening astrologically, the more we know, the more that we can be empowered. And I think for me, that's one of the huge elements of this, is using the knowledge for power, like empowering yourself so that you can feel more aware of what's happening, so that it doesn't overtake you, because that knowledge is power. That's really what it comes down to. So there's so much happening astrologically. It's like I have an entire full page of notes. So I'm just gonna go into a few things, and then we're gonna kind of talk about how all these things crisscross into each other. We'll start with Mercury retrograde, because you already brought up Mercury retrograde. Now, Mercury is like the most common knowledge of retrogrades. And like that's the one people know about the most, because people know it messes with technology, and it messes with communication, and it messes with, all these different ways that we interact with people, especially nowadays that we're like all on the internet. Like Mercury retrograde affects the internet, but it also affects the postal system, and it affects the, mail-in ballots. Like that is a Mercury issue. And when Mercury is retrograde, things get delayed. And so not only based on that, but based on that and other things, like I don't believe that we will have an answer to the election on November 3rd. I just don't see that happening. I don't think it's possible. Just like you said, there's going to be, and honestly, no matter who wins, there's going to be, the other side is going to fight it. Like, because that's where we're at right now. That's the nature of what's happening in the world. And Mercury goes direct on November 3rd. So that's really usually like the most stressful day, because it's like you're kind of like trying to go back into normal, but this planet's not fully moving yet. So it'll be a couple of days after that when you really know for sure who won. And I don't know that we'll ever really know for sure. What's really interesting on the Mercury retrograde thing, the last time that Mercury was retrograde during an election was the Bush and Gore.
Yes.
Which we all know what happened there. It was like, wait, who won? Oh, we don't know who won.
In court, yes.
Exactly.
So that's one, again, a huge reason why, Lauren, we planned this after our last chakra talk, because we were like talking, and then it came to us. Keep that in mind. Like, remember the last time Mercury was in retrograde was 2000. That was my first presidential election I could vote in. I just told on myself. Like, that was my first presidential election, and Mercury was in retrograde.
Right.
And for those of you who are empaths, who are very sensitive to energy, something you said, Lauren, is so key, that it may even though it goes direct on November 3rd, it's going to take a couple days to feel the effect. I always know Mercury going into retrograde, I feel it days before, and I can always tell when it ends, because I will either feel it before it actually technically on paper goes direct. I'm like, oh, it's already going direct. I can feel it. I actually physically feel it. I think the last retrograde we had back in, I think it was March, February, because nope, it was over the summer, because it was Gemini.
Yeah.
So it was the Cancer one. It was almost 2 full weeks after it went direct that I was like, okay, it finally went direct. I actually feel it. Huge.
So it's powerful. Yeah. And it's like, depending on where it is in your chart, like certain planets are more, if you have planets in your chart more often, like you could be more susceptible to energies of certain planets going retrograde. So Mercury rules Gemini, and also during the election will be a Gemini moon. So it's like a whole other level of communication. And the thing about Gemini is, this is our planet of communication. I mean, our sign of communication, just like Mercury. And Gemini is able to like go a lot of different directions. And I think that's an important thing to kind of also connect with, that like the not knowing and the recognizing that there's like all these different things that could be happening is very Gemini moon. And Gemini moon, it's like the moon is our emotional body. So we're going to be very emotional and very emotionally connected to what's happening, to the energies. So, but by knowing that, we get to prepare ourselves. Yeah. So that's the key. We just are getting out of a Gemini moon also right now. It went to Cancer today. And and so we had, the last few days have been the same kind of energy. Lots of energy in your head, lots of thinking, lots of overthinking, and all of that. So that will be happening again for the election, but knowledge is power. So what else is happening? So Mars is retrograde right now, and Mars has been retrograde since September 9th. Now, Mars is retrograde in its own home sign of Aries. Aries is a cardinal sign. It's like that startup it's a fire sign. It's very fiery. When a planet is retrograde, which Mars rules our body, and Mars is very, could be aggression, it could be anger. So a lot of that is self-directed right now. People may be feeling like a self-directed, like a frustration that's internal. But when it goes direct on November 13th, that's when people are going to be ready to redirect it back out into the country.
Just go ahead and say it. We're going to take it to the streets.
That's exactly what's going to happen. And I can say that without any hesitation. No matter what happens, people are going to take it to the streets, and there is going to be rioting in some form. And hopefully it will be peaceful, but with Mars being retrograde for these past 2 months, with everything that's been going on in 2020, people are really at a breaking point. So don't be one of those people that goes to that level is what I would say with that. Like having that awareness, like rioting in a productive way is very valuable. But when we start to go into aggression against other people, is that really going to serve our true purpose? I mean, to me, no. So watch that and protect yourself is what I would say, because it might not even be coming from you. It could be coming from someone else. So just be very aware of your surroundings and really pay attention to the decisions you're making in that time frame, because that Mars energy is going to be really strong when it goes back direct. So something to keep in mind. Pluto is another planet that Pluto is really like one of the main players of what's happening in our country right now. Mm-hmm. And what's really interesting is if you look at America's birth chart, the Pluto return is happening in 2022. So it's already starting to move towards that. Now, the most interesting to me about this is there's been a stellium of 3 planets in Capricorn. Now, Capricorn rules government. Pluto is one of those.
You just keep like what? First of all, what planet have you not listed?
So much,
guys. Gemini moon trumps Gemini. Okay.
Yep.
Pluto government.
Yep.
There's a couple of keep going. Y'all take the notes.
So exactly. So Pluto has been in Capricorn this year with Jupiter, anytime Jupiter's with another planet, like it expands it. It just makes it all bigger. It makes it all and it's also been with Saturn. Saturn is the great teacher, and Pluto is like the eliminator. Pluto wants to just tear it down and restructure. So these 3 planets have been together in Capricorn, and that is honestly, it's the main theme of 2020, yes. But it very, very much relates to our government. Like it is about restructuring. It is about, allowing us a chance to break down the structures so that we can build something new. Now, in that regard, with, and I'm not going to I don't even know how to say this, but with who is president right now, we're all going to feel some type of way. Some people love him. I don't know those people, but some people hate him. And whatever you feel about him, he has allowed us a chance to bring the shadows to the surface. He is a representation of where America came from.
Yep. And
he's one person, but it's what's the shadows of our country is the problem. It's not all on one person. It's about how we were built as a nation. And that is all in the process of full restructuring right now. So Pluto, there's so much. Pluto and Mars are squaring tomorrow. So this is really just going to stir up the competitive aspect of the 2 parties against each other. This is just going to add so many layers to what's happening between everybody and how that's how all that information is coming to the surface. There's going to be a lot. This also plays into the Mercury retrograde, because in Mercury retrograde, you got to really watch your words, and that applies to both parties, because anything you say at this point is like any slip up at this point can be detrimental.
Oh, under a microscope. It's overanalyzed.
Exactly. Overanalyzed.
Critical.
Exactly. Critical. It's all,
but
yes. And so with all of that, the square between Mars and Pluto and the Mercury retrograde, there's just a lot that's going to be continuing to be uncovered over the next few weeks. So this is one of those times where you just need to kind of like hold your hat, like hold on, literally. Don't get too caught up in the information that keeps coming out. Like know your true fight, like know your core values that is like so important right now, to just keep coming back to what are the key points of what matters to me, and how can I keep showing up for those things, because things are going to be tested right now.
Yep.
And we need to stay strong in whatever our beliefs are to keep moving forward and not get carried away with all of these aggressions that are coming. They're coming. So there's going to be a lot of aggression over the next day or two. And I would say meditation is really important right now. Keep yourself grounded, keep yourself as calm as you possibly can stay, like breathing techniques, like just breathe. And I'll come back to that. I have a good breathing technique that we'll mention at the end, and maybe, we'll play around with that. But we have a full moon happening a few days before the election, which falls on Halloween.
Yep.
And that's the second full moon of October, so it's a blue moon, because it's twice in 1 month. And that is going to, again, we all know full moons, they just bring out all that crazy. It's just, that's the nature of a full moon. It's Halloween. So yeah.
I used to have a boss who was like psycho bitch, and she would always be on her period during the full moon as well. So we had PMS and we had full moon crazy, and she was already crazy to begin with.
Okay.
And she would tell us, like, I'm on my period. And we're like, oh, great. So we got to deal with your psychotic PMS and the full moon. Oh, God.
Yikes.
But good full moon, but also, with your new moon and full moon time, too, good time for setting intention, taking a step back, being present.
Yes. And full moons are also really great for release. So like what I love about the full moon being right before the election, like you're going to show up to the ballot and you're to vote, and you're going to show up with all that intention, which we're going to get to that later. But when you get to that point where like you've already voted and you've done what you can do, you have to just like release it and just know that whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And we can only control our vote. We cannot control the outcome of what happens. And learning to be okay with that is going to be a huge element of the next steps. But what's really interesting is I was looking into the different candidates, the 4 main candidates. 3 out of 4 of them were born on a full moon, which is like crazy energy. And what's funny, the only one that was not is Mike Pence, and he was born on a new moon. But what's really interesting about all the full moon elements is when you're born on a full moon, the sun is in one sign and the moon is in the opposite sign. So there's this very like polarizing energy. So 3 of the candidates have that like very strong polarizing energy.
Which candidates?
So Trump
obviously.
Obviously, he's obviously polarizing. Nobody can, even if you love him, you can't take that away from him. Yep. And he's a Gemini Sagittarius polarization, which for him, like, I hate to, I'm the Gemini moon, so I'm not talking shit about Gemini, but there's like the twins, like the 2-headed, you can kind of go directions, which for me plays out in a really nice way, because I'm somebody who can like see all sides of something, but it can also turn into being really two-faced and really like saying one thing and doing another, or whatever. It can play out in a lot of different ways. So for him, it doesn't play out quite the same way. But and then Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are both.
I figured Kamala would be one. Okay.
Yeah, she's strong, man. Yeah, she's got that. she's got that strong energy.
Lady Pence she wasn't able to join the full moon party, but okay, girl, whatever. Really quickly, I just want to make sure, I know I said in the super chat, Desiree, thank you so much for the super chat. That was so incredibly sweet of you. Thank you for the donation. Keep going, Lauren. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Okay, let's see what else we got going on. The one thing I'll also say is, so Mars retrograde right now, Mercury retrograde right now, and I talked on this about Mercury with watching your words, but with Mars retrograde, Mars rules the body. So just be conscientious of your body right now, like your physical body. Like if you're thinking, I'm going to go for a run, but like you're really not up for it and you really don't have the energy for it, like skip it this time, So just be like aware of be more in tune with what's happening physically, so that you can listen to your body is really important up until after the election. Let me see. Oh, I pulled something that I thought was really interesting that you and I had touched on yesterday, which was his COVID diagnosis came out. Yeah, I know. COVID diagnosis is exactly where I'm at with that, but happened on a full moon. And what's super interesting was one astrologer had pointed out that the way that it fell in his chart, it was the Aries, and it matched up with the North Node and the South Node of Gemini and Sagittarius for him. And the North Node and South Node line up to like your karma, either your future karma or like your baggage karma. And it like hit the exact point of his karma. And so I thought that was super interesting. Imagine
that. When that story comes out that, miraculously recovered in 3 days and now he's like $18 million richer off of a miracle drug.
I mean, exactly. So all I'm going to say on that is also with that Gemini energy and what was happening with that full moon, there's a lot that's hidden. And I can say that very strongly. It's happening astrologically. Like it's not just in our heads. Like, did he go to the hospital? Yes. Did he go to the hospital for COVID? Maybe. Did he go to the hospital for something else? Very possible. Very possible. So I do think he has some health stuff going on. Yep. Do I think that he recovered from COVID in 24 hours? Doesn't seem likely.
No.
So that's where my head's at with all that. From the second I heard it, I was like, that's interesting timing. Oh, wow. Good way to change the conversation around yourself and good way to change your tone on all you've done wrong for 2020. Yeah. So, but it just was really funny because the astrology supports the exact conversation we had. Like there's something hidden, something that we will never probably know, honestly. Right. It's just one of those things that it's just going to be left to interpretation. So I can interpret it how I want to. There is a lot of cardinal energy happening right now, which is like new starts and like just like this kind of extra energy. So I would say use that energy for good, like start a new project that makes you feel good. Put yourself into situations that help to fuel you so that you have more energy moving forward to help deal with the rest of this year. Yeah. That was kind of my take on that part of it. But that's the most of what I wanted to touch on. There's one more thing I'm gonna just tap on is Jupiter and Pluto have been conjuncting this year, which is very
conjuncting
normal. Yeah.
I was bumping uglies like they were having they were conjuncting. Okay.
I know it's a weird term.
Would they hide? Would they do it out in the open? It's kind of dirty. Okay. Yeah, I see you too. Jupiter and Pluto, I see y'all.
Yeah, you're not hiding anything from us. And it's not.
Get your swerve on, y'all. Get y'all swerve on. Okay.
But the 3 dates for 2020 on that are April 5th, June 30th, and November 12th. It's happening again, which is the same day that Mars is going direct. I believe that there has been some connection between COVID and that connection from what I've read, what I've studied, it just seems like there's been, so it's just something to kind of keep aware of. And with Mercury rules the lungs, Mercury rules our airways, and that's, going to be retrograde. Mars rules the body. That's also retrograde. We have this conjunct happening again. Just wear your mask is what I would say. Like, be more conscientious of who you're around. It's just a time where there's more possibility for it to kind of come back in that framework. Not that Texas has ever gotten much better on the numbers with COVID, but there's potential for that to be, that to spark up again. So take care of yourself. Yeah. Be vigilant with your health.
Yeah. Especially with all the retrograde. I just always tell people, treat Mercury retrograde like the redheaded stepchild that's coming behind you. Don't be afraid of it, but just be acutely aware of it. So with everything Lauren just went through. So let's think this through. Let's talk this out. Let's take a step back and let's unpack this for a moment, if you will. She said in the beginning, knowledge is power. If you listen to all that and you were like, oh my God, we're fucked. We're not.
No,
we're not. So main things you got out of this were whole bunch of shits in retrograde, whole bunch of shits going conjunct. The main things that are in retrograde are going conjunct at the same time. Rule communication. There's going to be a lot of hyped up energy out there. So watch your back, watch your fronts and your sides, keep your head on a swivel. Like they say in the streets, if you see it, report it. Pretty simple, right? Don't let other people agitate you. Take a deep breath and take a step back. We're just giving you that this is what's going on in these cosmic streets. So when you see Ray Ray and Nuck Nuck outside the polling place throwing bows and scrapping ass, you're just gonna go, oh, look, they fell victim to the Pluto conjunct. That's so cool. I'm gonna let y'all go over there and fight, and I'm gonna stay in this line and make sure I cast my ballot, and I'm not going to let that energy drag me down.
Absolutely. That's exactly it. Yeah, it's exactly it, because it's like you can look at this as all negative, but it's not negative, and it's an opportunity for our country to shift. It's an opportunity for us to use this knowledge to better be empowered to make the right choices for ourselves.
Yep.
So yeah, it's all about how we interact with what's happening.
It is. It's all about that. How do we take what's going on? So let's, I'm all about when somebody gives me 2 sour ass lemons, I'm going to make a dirty martini with that bitch, not lemonade.
Yes.
It's about strategy. So let's talk about, again, earlier so now we've got the first wave of this, which is the information, knowing what's going on astrologically around this. Again, we're preparing for battle. So now that if you were doing the art of war, now you're knowing the terrain that you're about to go fight in. Let's use that analogy, right? I now know the terrain. So what do I need to take with me? What's going to be my armor? So that's part 2 of this conversation. Part 1 was the terrain. That's the astrological. We'll repeat this again for the people in the back. Part 2 is now, what armor do I take with me to go fight this fight, which is change. You need to come 100% fully ready, locked and loaded, not with an AK-47 like the Proud Boys, but with your freaking solar plexus energy. Okay. Your solar plexus is your house of fire. Your solar plexus energy is your house of taking action. Now, normally I try to tell people, take a motherfucking chill pill. Do not be aggressive with your solar plexus energy, because normally a balanced solar plexus is a place of being assertive, not being, Molly the mop, where you're just kind of where you're being walked over. You're also not going to be Trump, where you're super aggressive. You want to be assertive. I can stand up for myself. I can take power. However, I want to actually encourage some people. It may be okay to walk into this with a little bit of aggressive solar plexus energy. And what does that solar plexus energy look like? It's aggressive. It is actually a state of being. It is a state of mind. It is an affirmation that you are going to. It's like when Rocky was running up the steps in whichever Rocky movie that was. Don't judge me. It'll come in a minute. He was running up the steps and he was getting ready. You're walking into that ballot booth, that voting place, with that same energy. If I know that what I'm about to do right now is going to change this country for good.
Yes.
That is the energy. And I know that sounds like, bitch, I sat here for 34 minutes just for you to tell me to walk into the ballot with that energy. Really, though, that is how you need to arm your solar plexus.
Yes.
And that's the energy you need to take in. That knowing when you walk in and you cast your ballot, whether you're doing it in person or when you go to that mailbox, hopefully like the next couple of days, you're doing it
early.
Because I believe the deadline in a lot of states is next week, starting on some states starts early as the 10th. When you actually put that ballot into the mailbox, or you go in person, whether it's between now and November 3rd, when you cast that ballot, you are saying out loud, I am now taking control of the way that I want my country to go.
Absolutely. And I think it's, you're going in there with that intention of my vote matters, what I want for this country matters, and we're taking it back. And you're setting that positive affirmation with your vote, and it just increases the intensity and the power. And it's all about, there should be a little aggression this time. This is not a time to become, not a time to be complacent. Yeah, exactly.
Fucking matter. And that's, again, I never ever encourage people to use your solar plexus energy to be arrogant, but God damn it, this is the one time I say, George Jefferson, strut into that bitch, take a deep breath. And I want you to actually say out loud when you are done with that ballot, when you put it in the mailbox, I am making positive change for this country. Yes. And that affirmation, that positive affirmation is going to, and I don't know if I am actually getting chills. Like I'm actually feeling physically when I'm saying this. That is actually doing multiple things. Like Lauren said, it is putting that positive affirmation out. Okay. I am now taking charge. I am in control. Yes. I am in control. You are also activating your third eye chakra. I say this all the damn time. When you have an imbalance in your solar plexus chakra, what's going to follow behind it is an imbalance in your third eye. Particularly when I'm talking about the third eye, we're using the power of visualization.
Yes.
So I'm saying I take back. I am in control. I am making change for this country that I want to see. You're also now using that mantra, you're visualizing the positive change you want to see. You are now activating both of those chakras at the same fucking time. And that is the most powerful thing that you can do during this election.
Yes.
That is how you're going to take your power back. What other thoughts do you have, Lauren, about what energy we need to take into this ballot box?
Yeah, well, I think
voters booth ballot. Y'all motherfuckers know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. This ballot, the booth or the mailbox.
With this one, we got to come in there with our hearts too. Like you have to that heart energy of like knowing what you stand for and knowing that this is about more than just you as a person. Like it's about human rights really is where we're at in this moment. I mean, this is a fight on human rights. Like there's just no other way to, pussyfoot around that. Like that's just where we are. And when you think about the fact that like this vote is your power, but it's your power to support other human beings, and having that heart-centered energy will help you find more connection between the third eye and the solar plexus. And also, I think that's an important aspect of this.
Yep. You got to bring that compassion that comes with, I care about what's going to happen. Even if I'm voting because I want the change selfishly, I also know that this can positively change people the country, the good, the overall good.
Yes. Yes.
Couple questions I saw that came up in the
chat. I just saw that.
Address. One, Bonnie was asking, particularly about energy vampires. And Bonnie, I saw your question. And she was asking, can people become psychic vampires, which is an energy vampire, during this time because people are stressed? I think if you are an energy vampire, you are already the energy vampire, period. The only thing that will, you just, how do I put this? Energy vampires are just going to suck more suckle. I don't think people who aren't energy vampires are going to become them. I just think the energy vampires that are already here are just going to be extra zzzy. Do you have a different thought, Lauren?
Well, so I totally agree with that. I mean, yes, if you're an energy vampire, that's how you are. However, I do believe that the frequency of fear allows people to be more susceptible. So I think that if you're operating from a fearful space, you are going to have more susceptibility to have your energy zapped by somebody who, pushes you over the edge. And, people who are gaslighting, which we see that happening in our political system all day, every day right now. So if you're in that fearful state, you're going to allow that gaslighting to affect you more, which zaps your energy. So I do think that's one other thing to add.
Yep. Lauren, can you explain why, I always sound like the broken record, give your spin on why an imbalance in your solar plexus chakra typically always will manifest into an imbalance in your third eye?
Yeah. So the way that I relate those two is that, so your solar plexus is all about your personal power. Now, if you are wishy-washy on your own power, then there's a very high probability that you don't have the capacity to visualize yourself in your higher purpose. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's where that imbalance connects to. And I think in general, so it's like if you can't own your own power, then you probably can't see yourself accomplishing certain goals or visualize what you hope to accomplish or what you hope to see in the future. And so I think you have to take that strength back. And it's like, they say that gut intuition. For me, a lot of that is in the solar plexus. And so it's connected to your space of intuition. So those two spaces are just intrinsically linked. And so I think that's how those two specific spaces are affected with each other. But in general, with chakra imbalances, which I think maybe was that also part of it, or no? Was it just the one? I just think that with our energy centers, though, when one space is imbalanced, it typically will affect another in general. And it's not always those two, but I do think what you're saying, there is a strong connection between those two. But I also believe that for some people, just depending on your own personal experiences, you will be overactive in certain spaces and more shut down in other spaces.
It's very interesting. I also think about it too, when you have a flat tire or when the tire pressure is low, your other tires have to work extra hard to balance the load for your shocks and everything else in your car. It's the same kind of thing when one of your chakras is out of balance. The rest of them have to are either going to get depleted because, oh my gosh, now I'm having to really work extra with the crown chakra to balance because my root chakra is so jacked up, or it's the tire analogy is the best way I can put it. When one's running low, the rest of them have to work extra harder to balance everything out.
It's perfect. Yeah. It's true.
I also think too, when it pertains to your third eye chakra and your solar plexus chakra, I have just something that I've seen time and time again with people. If you get psychic, because everybody has intuition, everybody has a level of psychic ability. It is called intuition, right? If you see things and you're getting that third eye and something's not right, but if you don't act on it, with that solar plexus, that house of action, you're now your stomach is saying, I don't trust you, third eye.
Exactly.
I don't trust what you told me, so I'm just going to shut it all off together. Or if your stomach is like, wow, I really need to take action, but your third eye is calcified, you can't see what action to take because you're just not, they're just so intrinsic like that.
Yeah, and you start to lose trust in yourself, and then that weakens your intuition. So it's a vicious cycle too.
So we talked about bringing in your warrior house of fire with your solar plexus, also using also that in your third eye with your visualization and your positive affirmation. Let's say it together, children. When you go to cast your ballot, I am making positive change for this country. I am taking the steps necessary to make positive change for this country. We said it. We felt better. We cast our ballot, whether it's next week, November 3rd. What happens after that? How do we still stay on that high? How do we still carry that positive energy? Couple things that Lauren and we've been talking about, and Lauren alluded to this earlier, is setting the expectation that we will probably, unless it is a landslide, we probably will not know the outcome on the night of November 3rd. Okay. Even if it is a landslide, let's just go ahead and say what it is, that we may not get the answers that we want, right? Or we're going to have to wait, because we also know that he's going to probably, let's just say Biden is a landslide, Trump is going to contest it. Yes, I know Lauren's gone. Let's give it just a minute. I think she's going to join back in. I think she accidentally disconnected her mic or her camera. So let's give her a second, but I'm gonna keep it going. So how do we may not have the answer. So what do? How do we, it could be days, hours, weeks, months. Let's prepare ourselves for how do we get through what we are going to experience that night. So let's take a couple things into play. Remember, Lauren made it, I love how she brought up what happened in 2000, that the last time there was a full moon and something going conjunct and direct, or there's a retrograde during an election, was in 2000. So we had to wait for that to be contested. Knowledge is power. What's another thing? Let's also remember too that exit polling may not be 100% accurate right now, because remember, going up into the election, they had that Hillary was at 70 something percent that she was going to win. So that was also a bit of a shock coming out of it, that he had pulled it off. Yes, she won the popular vote, but he had indeed won the Electoral College, which is all that was needed. So we know, we can anticipate that may be happening. Let's also talk about the fact that he's wildly unpopular. Trump is unpopular. And so the popular opinion is that people who may want to vote for him may not actually admit it as they leave. So that can be something else that can throw the numbers off. So how do we keep ourselves going, keep ourselves connected, keep ourselves on this energy, this positive energy going out of the election while we continue to wait for the results? That again ties to keeping your solar plexus amped up. There's another thing. So making sure we've got our solar plexus, we can take charge, keeping our third eye locked down. I can visualize the change that I want. There's also another chakra I want to bring into this, and that is your root chakra. That is your house of stability, feeling stable. What is the one thing that always blocks your stability? And that is fear. When you feed into the fear frequency, that messes up your root chakra. And that then allows for you to lose your power through your solar plexus chakra. So something that you need to do to amp up is also just make sure you don't give in to that fear frequency and you keep your solar plexus chakra strong. Does that make sense? You guys have any questions? I know Johnny had one. Is a crystal, mantra, or form of meditation that you could do before heading into aggressive place to journal protect? Is it a crystal, mantra, or form of meditation? You should do, I'm going to say, bring out your entire arsenal, Johnny. One thing you could do is you can always make sure that you, those of us who have lady girls up here, some of us can smuggle some crystals in our bra as we walk into the voting booth. There is, you can do, I don't know why my brain just went blank. You can do some tiger's eye. You can do to help with your third eye and that third eye chakra, keeping that strong. You can also do black rainbow obsidian, black obsidian, anything that has a protective nature, and just actually ask for protection. Say, hey, I want to protect either you yourself as your physical space and also your spiritual space. Help keep my energy calm, connected, and with me. Don't allow any energy to penetrate that is not mine. Hi, Lauren. Welcome back.
I don't know what happened.
It's okay.
My computer decided
Mercury
to die.
Mercury retrograde. Okay. Johnny asked the question. What I covered is kind of talking through all the things that could potentially happen. So reminding everybody that again in 2000 was the last retrograde we had during election.
Yes.
Also remembering too that Trump is unpopular. So a lot of people, if they do their exit polling, may not say that they openly admit that they voted for him.
Yes.
And the third thing also was just knowing that even if Biden wins in a landslide, Flatfoot is going to find a way, no matter what, to contest it. So how do we keep our energy high? I was reminding people of keeping that positive affirmation with that solar plexus chakra.
Right.
In that third eye. And then also brought in your root chakra. Stability and not giving into that fear frequency.
Yes. I think with after the election, the root is going to be even the most, I think that's actually going to be the most important aspect after this is over, because we have to stay grounded no matter what happens and know that no matter what the outcome of the election is, we need to keep moving forward with our goals, no matter what. Even if it's what we want to happen, the fight's not over. Like, this is not over. This is the beginning of a new dawning of awareness, and we need to keep grounded to keep that focus going.
Absolutely. You said it much more eloquently than I did. I want you to help me answer a question. So Johnny was asking about, is it a crystal, mantra, or form of meditation you should do before heading into an aggressive place? I said you can do all of the above. You can smuggle a crystal in. You can put it, Johnny, you may put it in your pocket. I would put mine in my brassiere. I actually put it in my wallet. Lauren, what are some good crystals for protection? I listed rainbow obsidian. What are some other ones?
I like quartz is always a good one for me. It's just like very like clearing, and it just for me, like, it just brings me to that sense of clarity, and I think that's a good one to have with you. Another one would be green calcite is one that I just have been researching lately that I used for a class lately. And it's all about like new beginnings. And I think that could be a really powerful, good option for this specific election, like using that new beginning energy of like, I'm ready for a new beginning. I think that's a great one. I love citrine too, because citrine will take you into that solar plexus energy that we all are trying to connect with through this process. And so that would be, citrine would be one of my top ones too.
You can also put that and hold it on your actual stomach.
Yes.
And place it on your stomach and just walk around and talk with everybody with one hand, and nobody will ever know what's in the other hand. And, or if you have a long pendant, you can wear it under your shirt and have that actually touch your stomach. A mantra. I would also add the mantra. Like I said, Johnny, I would do all three. I am important enough to make change. I have the power to make change. This country is going to move in a positive direction. You can say that, or what any mantra going, depending on your situation. If you are in an aggressive place, you can say, before going in, I am safe, I'm surrounded, I'm protected.
Yeah.
You can say that mantra going into it. And then also, the only thing, and that actually just those two, and then the meditation actually is the mantra. Meditation is not necessarily being silent. Meditation is focusing on one thing single purposely for a specific period of time. That is your meditation, which is that mantra, which is I am safe, I am protected, I am secure.
Absolutely.
I'm safe, I'm protected, I'm secure. You've done those two things in just that one. And when that keeps your frequency high enough, Johnny, where you've created your own chakra force field. So not much it's going to take a lot more to penetrate that into mess up your alignment.
Absolutely.
Somebody is asking for a list of them. Desiree, are you asking for a list? I'm assuming you're asking. Johnny said a fanny pack. I'm dead. Desiree is asking for a list of the chakras, I'm assuming. So I'm going to actually, Lauren, can you start with the crown? Can you?
Yeah. So we have the crown chakra, is at the top of the head. We have the third eye is between the eyebrows. We have the throat chakra, which is, of course, our throat center. We have the heart chakra, our heart center, our place of love. Below that is the solar plexus, which is what we've been talking about, our center of energy and power.
I actually grabbed the solar plexus.
Oh, yes. Under the solar plexus is our sacral chakra. This is our more creative, like, feeling center. And then below that is our root chakra, and that is our place of grounding.
Security as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Johnny, Johnny, make a fanny pack with crystals in it.
That's a great idea. Yes.
The fanny pack has the crystals of the chakras. Like, that's how it's decorated.
Yes.
Not bedazzled, but like make it look snazzy. Oh, Johnny, let's work on that.
That's a business plan.
Yes. I'm gonna answer a couple more questions, or actually, I think we've actually covered it. There's one thing before we go into the questions. I see a lot of them popping up, and they're very good. One thing too I wanted to talk about after this election is that something you had hinted to me yesterday, Lauren, is that astrologically some more shit's gonna hit the fan after the election.
Yes.
So can you just kind of remind us of what that is again?
Yeah, I mean, so the Pluto situation is what's continuing to happen after this election, and it's like rewriting the history of America. And so that was kind of my point of, like, we're kind of at the tip of the iceberg. We need to maintain our energy so that we can keep pushing forward with our goals of what we want the future of the country to look like. So just kind of having that awareness in your head that, like, we just have to keep moving forward. No matter what happens, we have to just keep putting one foot in front of the other, showing up for ourselves and showing up for what we believe in is really kind of where we're at in the country right now.
Absolutely. That ties really well into Johnny's question, which is, during these 4 years, is it possible that people have done damage to their chakras that would be difficult to repair? The possibility of that is not impossible, and it actually could happen. If you're staying in a state of, I keep the 7 cups, which is in tarot, everybody knows tarot, it's, confusion, too many options. When you have been in a state of perpetual confusion, that does cause damage to your third eye chakra, your crown chakra. When you have been so used to being lied to that you don't want to hear it anymore, you start to tune out. That does damage to your throat chakra, because your throat chakra is not just about speaking divine truth, but it's also listening. So if you're thinking that people are going to lie to you all the time, you start to have some damage to your throat chakra. Yes. Not to mention, when you have felt in a place where you just hate to see what has been happening to your country and you feel discouraged, that can hurt your heart chakra. Your solar plexus chakras. You see where I'm going? It has some, Bonnie, yes, you hit the nail on the head. It can cause, depending on how long you've allowed yourself to stay in this position, damage to your entire chakra system. Is it impossible to repair? No, it is not. Any kind of self-help, any kind of change that you want to inflict, you have to be first inflict. That's the right word. You have to be, 1, aware, and 2, willing to do the work to change it.
Yes.
There's a myriad of ways you can start working to balance out your chakras. It is, and yes, Johnny, for some, it would be more difficult to repair than others. Like Lauren was saying, people who are a little bit more susceptible to fear frequency, it's going to be a little bit harder to, there may be a little bit of more intervention needed. You may need to go do some energy work, some Reiki work, in addition to diet change, in addition to a lot of other things to help balance out that to repair that damage. Because Lauren, you always have such a good point about how trauma can lay in the molecular DNA.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, trauma ends up, manifesting into physical sensations. And it's like we first have the chance to address them in the energetic body before that damage continues to, address us in a physical way. So, look to your physical pain, I think can be a really powerful self awareness tactic. Like, where's like that one spot that like whenever I feel run down, I start to like have some pain there. And that a lot of times will clue you in when you start to think about where that relates energetically in your body. And it's a really powerful tool to help you become more conscientious of what's happening.
Right. I had a client over the weekend who gets certain particular ailments, and it was very easy for me to go, oh, that chakra, is out. Digestive issues too tend to lie in your solar plexus and also your root chakra. So if you got the leaky bowels, the hot poops,
right.
You should take self-control and put the burrito down, but you also should exercise that self-control and remember that you have the power. So that does, all of it intertwines and makes such a huge difference. Light Body 1987, fantastic year, has a question. Should a person start with the root chakra since it sits at the base of the spine? Would this help to balance out other chakras also?
Interesting.
Since we all know they work in tandem. I have an answer. I'm going to say yes and. Not necessarily because it sits at the base of the spine, but yes, because your root chakra is all about stability, safety, security, finances, family/tribe. These are all things that impact your root chakra. Your root chakra also develops anywhere from conception to, depending on which modality you follow, 2 years, 18 months to 7 years. When you know that your root chakra, when you walk into this world, you know that I am safe and I'm secure, no matter what happens, I'm going to be okay. That is your root chakra. And when you know that no matter what happens, I'm going to be okay, I'm fine, I am grounded, that makes such a difference on the rest of your energetic body, because it does start with knowing that you're safe and secure, all of your needs will be met. And that is a good foundation to aligning the rest of your energetic body. What do you think, Lauren?
I completely agree with that. I mean, I think that if your root is grounded, it is more stabilizing to be able to work on your other centers. So I do think that is the place to start if you have an imbalance there. Some people like know exactly who they are and feel totally, like for some people it's not, they don't need to do work there. But if you're somebody who resonates with the fact that like you're not always fully feeling secure, you're not always feeling safe, then for sure start there, because you will have more success accessing the other parts of yourself once those issues have been addressed. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's hard too, because something I also want to add to that. If you had any type of childhood trauma,
yes.
If you grew up in just a house where your parents didn't get along, you grew up,
yes.
fighting for stability, your root chakra is going to also be the hardest to balance. Definitely. Because that type of early trauma lives in your root chakra.
Yes.
So do not get discouraged if you were a child that grew up with any kind of trauma and you want to start at your root chakra and you're like, well, hell, fucks. This ain't balanced, so I'm going to give up on the rest of them. No, don't give up. You're just going to need to work on your root chakra, and then in conjunction with the rest of your chakras. Just know your root chakra is going to be a recurring theme.
And I think it's important to know that like we all have certain parts of ourselves that are, that are a work in progress for our lives. And that's part of the work. Like you just, you get into a good place and then think, something happens and you need to like reconnect and rebalance. Like it's not like a one and done kind of situation where you fix it and then it's fixed forever. Like we all have certain parts of ourselves that are, a continual space that we need to reevaluate and just, be conscientious of.
I had to do a lot of throat chakra work on myself this week.
Yeah.
Throat chakra usually is not an issue for me.
Right.
Sometimes, but it's usually not a recurring.
Yeah.
But I do a lot of throat chakra work. What I love about the energetic body is it's always in flux. What I don't like about the energetic body as a person is that it's always in flux.
Exactly.
So, but that's life,
Yes,
we're imperfect vessels here on this earth trying to figure this thing out.
Exactly.
These were such great questions, guys. Any additional questions before Lauren and I close out this session tonight? I think I've called I said the word MF 19 times. Thank you for hanging in there with me, but that's just how I feel when I talk about this administration. They can all suck my fat toe. And I'm very unapologetic. This is for entertainment purposes only. If you are not entertained by me telling this administration they can suck my toe, then I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Any questions? And it could be about, again, what we covered tonight about what energy we need to take into this election. It could be any astrological questions for Lauren, who my brain is swimming. That was a lot of really good information.
It's a lot. There's so much happening.
It could be anything. My toe is fat. Does washing the physical body help chakras? I feel like washing your funky ass in general. And yes, it can, because it serves as a purification practice to rebalance your energy. So yes, washing the physical body actually does, Johnny.
Yeah, I also think that it's like you bring your attention there, and just by bringing your attention to certain parts of you, like helps you draw your energy into that space, and that helps you to kind of feel that sense of connection, and that can help rebalance it in that way. If you do it intentionally, is all I would say.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's a really good question. Johnny Johnny has the best questions.
Yeah.
Like,
good question.
Your brain went in such a great direction because, like, it's just fantastic. Jace, I know I was really grouchy earlier this week, Jace. I could not figure out. I knew energetically it was not my energy that was causing me to be just a funk nasty bitch, but I knew that. Luckily, I didn't take it out on anybody. I just internalized it and kept it in. But I was swimming like, what is causing this? Why do I feel funky? And I was like, oh, there's this going on astrologically. There's this, and then Lauren was like, girl, you also know, right, that this and this going on. I was like, oh, hell, of course, that explains it.
Yeah,
explains it. So I'm glad we were able to provide some insight. Just want to remind everybody again before we end, just keep in mind that we have the power. Your solar plexus energy is all about reminding yourself and acting on the power that you can make change.
Yes.
You can visualize it all you want to with a third eye chakra, but unless you show up with your solar plexus energy, the house of action,
yes,
your third eye visualization will be in vain. Also remember that after the election, it's going to be topsy-turvy. We will not get the clear peace that we think we want and, quite frankly, this country deserves. Stay in your house of positive affirmations through your solar plexus chakra. Know that your vote mattered. You took the actions to make a positive change. Continue to visualize using your third eye chakra the change you want to see. Ground yourself with your root chakra. Like Lauren said, go outside and walk. It's fall. It's not hot as balls, and it's also not freezing yet, depending on where you live. Take advantage of that. Walk outside, get some fresh air to help ground yourself and stay present with your root chakra so you know that you are secure and you're safe. Show some love. Use that heart chakra, okay, to stay in a place of higher frequency. And just know that Lauren, it was Pluto, right? That's all about change for the country, right?
Yes.
Know that Pluto is working for us and not against us right now.
Exactly. Yes. It's bringing up the shadows so that we can face them and that we can then dismantle what's happening.
Yep. We got another question. Is there something you should or shouldn't have in your house to help your chakras? I say yes, and that is a whole nother topic that can take me 8 hours. If anybody has ever heard of anything called directional feng shui, that is all about what energies and things that you have in your house that either add to or deplete from your chakra system.
Yes. We should do a class on that. I like that is a whole other class.
Yes. I will say let's talk just, Lauren, 2 quick things you should have in your house that will help your energetic body.
Yeah. For me, like, what would I say?
Mhm.
I would say plants are my number one. Like, put some plants in different areas where you feel like you need some refreshing,
Mhm.
and just find ones that you love the way they look. And I like, crystals are a good one, just like to place them around. Like, I have a bunch of crystals on my nightstand and
Mhm.
places like where you're going to see them regularly. Those are my favorite things. Get rid of clutter is another big tip.
Dream catchers are good because
Mm.
in Native American cultures, or just in shamanic culture, it actually is to catch that negative energy.
Yes.
Full moon, or on a day where it's nice and sunny outside, put it in the sun to recharge it and banish any negative energy.
Love that.
Sage, I just saged again earlier
Me
today.
too.
Sage your house. And I know this, and another thing to help too, just don't allow bullshit energetically in your house. We're human. This is where you spend so much time at home, like you do at work. You need to make sure that it is a place where you want to come and stay,
So true.
and just create that fortress that you want. But yes, Johnny, I mean, I could literally, I did some training in directional feng shui.
Yeah.
I could spend days, because I think it is so important what you keep in your house and what energies it helps.
It's huge.
Lauren, you were talking about a breathing exercise earlier that you wanted to do, and I would love to end with that tonight. To teach everybody this so they can take it to the voting booth.
Exactly. This is a super simple one, but it's really effective, and it's called box breathing. And the reason it's called box breathing is because it's in the section of a box, and each section is the same. All you're going to do, you're going to inhale, you're going to hold the breath in, you're going to exhale and hold the breath out where there's no breath. So it's a count of 4 for each one. Now, if you've been doing breathing techniques a long time, sometimes I'll do it for 5 seconds, sometimes I'll do it for 6 seconds, but start with 4. You inhale for 4, you hold the breath in for 4, you exhale back out for 4, and then you pause for 4 with no breath. That pause at the end can be the most challenging. Just try to remain calm. If it feels like it's too much, if you feel like it's stressing you, go down to 3 seconds. But typically 4 works for most people. And I think it's just box breathing. You just allow the breath to continue in this box cycle. It's very grounding. It really is.
And I do this with especially newer clients who are new to energy healing, and I need to kind of calm them down. I will do box breathing because it's only 4 seconds, and that will help them. And then we eventually do progress to other breathing exercises.
Yes.
Johnny, box breathing is amazing to do when you feel like you're going to go into it. That's part of you. Use that as part of your power of 3 we were talking about earlier, your crystal, your mantra, and your meditation. You can actually do your box breathing before you go into any situation you feel may be threatening, to help ground and calm your ass down.
Absolutely. It's a good one.
Box breathing.
Yes.
Guys, remember, you have the power. The choice is yours. The power is yours.
Show up.
Walk out, show up, show out, and ignore the foolishness. Because remember, he's an asshat clown. He's going to do everything he can to scare you. That's what he wants. He wants us scared. They want us scared. They want us to capitulate. Use your solar plexus chakra to let them know you ain't no hoe, you ain't no punk. You are going to make the change, the positive change for the country that you want to live in.
Yes.
Thank you to my moderators, to Johnny from Tarot's Apprentice, Larry Girl. Thank you so much. You are always so freaking fantastic.
Awesome.
Jace, thank you so much, Jace. Lauren, I think our next chakra, let me get out my trusty calendar. Let's get me calendar. Our next chakra talk will be Thursday the 5th.
Perfect.
I would love to, let's do kind of a little recap.
Yeah. It's great timing.
Let's also we may even bring in a couple guests if they want to join us, and kind of keep this going about what energies we need to bring in to keep us going. Because I'm with you. I don't necessarily think we're going to know by the 5th. Definitively.
Yeah. It's still going to be up in the air probably.
Yep.
So,
and let's talk about part 2. Let's be positive and say, yes, we're going to win. Let's talk about what energy we need to bring to actually now do the work for the country we want to build. So part 2 will be coming on Thursday, November the 5th.
Yes.
Until
Breathe.
then,
Until
your
then,
body's
breathe.
moving. Remember that astrologically, there's a lot going on. So just take a deep breath. Don't get caught up in the swirl. Use the power that you were given, and just know that you can inflict the change that you want to see. Lauren, thank you for joining us as always. Guys, next petty party is on the 17th. Happy birthdays to Jace tomorrow. Jace's birthday is tomorrow, girl. Happy birthday, Libra season. Until the 5th, until the next petty party, whenever one of us decides to go live and throw cards, please take care of yourself first.
Yes.
Because you can't take care of anybody else, your friends or family. And we damn sure can't take care of mama if we take care of ourselves first.
Yes.
Peace and love, guys. Bye.